Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Maisy Mok. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. President Xi Jinping's close aide and China's former state planner are appointed vice premiers. John Lee heads to Beijing again to promote Hong Kong and seek support from central authorities. China has confirmed the appointments of its vice premiers today in its cabinet reshuffle. They include President Xi Jinping's right-hand man, Deng Xuexiang, as well as former state planner He Lifeng, but a number of top officials also retained their positions. Chloe Feng reports.
经过投票表决，14届全国人大依次会议决定，丁薛祥、何立峰、张国清、刘国中同志为国务院副总理。
One day after confirming the appointment of Premier Li Qiang, the National People's Congress also endorsed the nominations of his deputies today. Of the four nominees, Deng Xuexiang is the only one to sit on the Politburo Standing Committee, the apex of power in China. The 60-year-old was unanimously appointed as executive vice premier. With 2,944 votes in favor, none against and 2 abstentions. The former personal secretary of Xi Jinping, Deng is one of the president's closest confidants. He accompanied Xi on various domestic and overseas trips, including his visit to Hong Kong last July to celebrate the SER's 25th anniversary. Another appointment is He Lifeng, the former head of the National Development and Reform Commission, in charge of formulating economic policies. The veteran state planner will succeed Liu He, who played a pivotal role in managing the trade war with the United States. The two remaining vice premiers, Liu Guozhong and Zhang Guoqing, are both described as technocrats who will execute Xi's visions and development blueprint.
我宣誓，忠于中华人民共和国宪法。
Led by Deng, they were then sworn into office. The top legislature also officially approved other leadership positions. There were a number of promotions, including Li Shangfu, the former PLA general who was named defense minister. But a large number of cabinet members will remain in their seats. 65-year-old Yi Gang will continue to lead the People's Bank of China, while Liu Kun, 66, remains finance minister. Their appointments came as a surprise, as both had passed the unofficial retirement age. Analysts believe the un-Euro moves suggested Xi is prioritizing stability and continuity in his policies. Such qualities are especially important as China tackles domestic financial risks, while meeting external challenges such as the technological race with the West. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
Chief Executive John Lee has embarked on another visit to Beijing. Apart from attending the closing ceremony of the National People's Congress, the Hong Kong leader will meet top officials to seek their support. Here's Chloe Feng again.
It's been a hectic week for John Lee. Just days after returning from Beijing, the chief executive is heading back to the capital. After attending the opening ceremony of the National People's Congress, the SAR leader will also be present at the closing ceremony tomorrow. Speaking to the press at the airport this afternoon, Lee revealed he will stay in Beijing for 1 week this time.
I
will make use of every opportunity to showcase Hong Kong and seek support for the city's governance and policies, he said. Lee is accompanied by 8 of his bureau chiefs as they visit various government bodies and ministries. They include Tourism Minister Kevin Yeung, Mainland Affairs Chief Eric Tam, and Security Secretary Chris Tam. Few details have been announced so far, but Lee pledged to update Hong Kongers along the way. The top SAR official also congratulated President Xi Jinping on his re-election. It represents the people's wish, trust, and support, Li declared, adding he felt inspired and uplifted. The closing ceremony of China's top legislature is scheduled at 9 a.m. tomorrow. All eyes will also be on newly minted Premier Li Qiang when he takes questions from local and foreign media. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
In other news, the younger sister and the lawyer of veteran trade unionist Elizabeth Tang have been released on bail. Marilyn Chan was seen leaving police headquarters with her sister Elizabeth at around 1 a.m. Marilyn Chan was arrested yesterday along with Frederick Ho, the younger brother of former lawmaker and Democratic Party chairman Albert Ho. The pair were accused of perverting the course of justice by removing evidence of a national security case against Elizabeth Tang. They have to report to the police next month. A matching platform by the Urban Renewal Authority has helped over 220,000 households secure a maintenance contractor in the past 7 years. Most cases were able to complete the tender within 2 years. Under the current law, buildings which are 30 years or older are subject to mandatory inspections. But apart from setting aside a budget for potential maintenance works, many homeowners also struggle to find a suitable contractor for the job. The process often led to suspicions of bid rigging, as was the case of Choi Lam Estate in Cheungkwan-o. Flat owners were up in arms after the management committee commissioned a contractor at a whopping cost of $170 million. Many owners refused to chip in and demand the body to utilize a matching platform offered by the Urban Renewal Authority. Called Smart Tender, the platform provides a verified list of inspectors and contractors for owners' corporations to choose from. Since launching in 2016, the scheme has processed over 3,100 applications, covering over 220,000 households. The authority also organizes seminars to explain to the owners their responsibilities, many of whom are elderly and not familiar with the process. But the URA admitted not all cases went smoothly. In an article on the authority's website, Managing Director Wai Chi Singh said in one case, a group took over 6 years just to secure a contractor. He said flat owners sometimes argued over the selection of a contractor, or they had to clarify the building's deed of mutual covenants. Other times, some contractors decided to back out after the tendering process dragged on for too long. Fortunately, 80% of applications were able to complete the tender within 2 years. Going forward, the authority will make it even easier for individual households to take part in the process. Starting next month, homeowners will receive by mail the login information for the Smart Tender platform, saving them the time to liaise with the management committee. 2 people escaped serious injuries after their truck nearly plunged down a slope near Beacon Hill. The truck was driving along Longchen Road at around 2 p.m. when the driver lost control and slammed into the crash barrier near Tai Wo Ping. Part of the vehicle was dangling in mid-air when it came to a stop. The 50-year-old driver and a 41-year-old passenger were rescued later. Westbound traffic on the major thoroughfare was disrupted for hours. Protests have continued in France against President Emmanuel Macron's unpopular pension reform plan. Demonstrations in Paris turned violent when some people set fire to piles of rubbish. Scuffles also broke out in several cities as police tackled and pepper-sprayed protesters who destroyed shops and banks. Dozens were detained. The nationwide marches have been going on since January. Unions are pleading with Macron to change his mind before the Senate votes on the proposal to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64. but Macron has so far refused to meet with the union leaders. The BBC Director General has apologized for the disruption after football shows were either pulled or truncated. But Team Davies said he would not resign and insisted there had been no pandering to any political party by suspending presenter Gary Lineker.
It feels and looks to me like the BBC is capitulating to a Tory-inspired cancel campaign of a presenter whose opinions expressed not on the BBC, they just don't like. Actually, I don't agree with his analogy there at all, and I think it was probably ill-advisable of him to have said it in those terms. But I do defend his right to express it, not least because he is a sports presenter, not a news presenter, expressing these views not on the BBC but on his own social media account. And
the heart of this is the government's failure on the asylum system. And rather than take responsibility for the mess they've made, the government is casting around to blame anybody else, Gary Lineker, the BBC, civil servants, the Blob.
Lineker did not speak to reporters as he left his house one day after he was suspended from his role as presenter of March of the Day. His popular show was scaled down to 20 minutes, 1/4 of the usual length, and came without commentary, pundits, or post-match interviews with players. Lineker angered the government by criticizing its asylum policy, but many defended his rights to express his opinions. On to the weather now. Expect cooler conditions tomorrow with the arrival of a northeast monsoon. Temperatures will range between 18 and 23 degrees. The mercury will go back up again midweek. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Sunday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Maisy Mok. Thanks for watching. Good night.